This morning, a passenger plane and a military helicopter go down in D.C. The search for survivors and the impact to local flights.
Plus, withdrawing from a federal program. Hear why the Dane County Sheriff's Department is changing its policy about undocumented immigrants. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now. This morning, we're following some breaking news this morning. You're taking a live look at the Potomac River. This morning, no survivors have been pulled out of the water here in D.C.
A military helicopter and a commercial plane that was coming from Wichita, Kansas, collided last night. And this morning, rescuers, hundreds of them, are right here at the Potomac River trying to find any survivors. As of this point, none of the 64 people who are on board the flight have been found alive, or any of the crew members who are aboard that helicopter. Let's tell you what else we know here as we take that live. The video of the collision caught on camera last night on EarthCam. And then the scene, all of those rescuers working in some very challenging conditions with the water there at the Potomac River barely above freezing as they search for any survivors.
Right, and we do know that some U.S. figure skating team members were on that flight as they were coming from a championship meet in Wichita, Kansas, and one witness recalls the moment of the crash.
We noticed the planes started having regular patterns, and they all kind of dispersed from their regular landing patterns. And then we looked up in the sky before that, and we saw these white flare.
What were you thinking when you saw these white flares?
We didn't think much of it. We thought they were like shooting stars.
There were 3 service members on board of that helicopter. Multiple agencies are investigating this incident, including the Pentagon, FBI, and FAA. The National Transportation Safety Board is taking the lead. All air traffic in and out of Washington, D.C. Reagan National Airport has been halted until 11 a.m. local time. This is the first major U.S. commercial air crash in almost 16 years.
This is having an impact on flights locally out of Dane County Regional Airport. A couple of flights headed to D.C. this morning have been canceled as they have a stoppage there at Reagan National. We will have more from News 3 Now and from CBS News. They are going to take a live news conference from local officials in the nation's capital at 6:30 this morning. We will bring you that live right here on Channel 3.
Well, let's switch gears here now. Here locally, let's check in with meteorologist Savannah Brito, who's here now with your first warn weather. Good morning.
Good morning. The big story in the weather department today, how warm it's going to be. 55 degrees, and that will shatter our current record. That's actually 47 degrees that was set back in 1974. So we'll break that likely by at least 7 to 8 degrees this afternoon. It'll still be breezy, and because of our mild conditions, breezy conditions, and how dry it's been, we also have an elevated fire risk to talk about later this afternoon. We'll talk about how strong our winds are going to be and when we'll finally see an ease at that pattern. It's coming up in a bit, guys.
All right, talk to you then. In local news this morning, Dane County Sheriff's Office withdrawing from a federal program that relies on information about undocumented immigrants in jail. In an exclusive one-on-one, our Merrill Hubbard spoke with Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett to learn more.
I spoke with Sheriff Barrett, and he tells me that the Sheriff's Office is cutting ties with a federal incentive called the State Criminal Alien Assistance Program.
We will no longer be taking part in the SCAT grant program, and it is due to the recent change in administration and our understanding and listening and hearing our community here in Dane County.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the SCAT program provides federal payments to agencies for incarcerating, quote, undocumented criminal aliens with at least 1 felony or 2 misdemeanor convictions for violations of state or local law and in jail for at least 4 consecutive days.
We receive grant funding for providing a separate organization with historical data. From that, they have the opportunity to share that information with other federal agencies, including ICE.
Sheriff Barrett says he's been in support of this grant until now.
It's a different time, and I think the previous administration is completely different than our current administration, and we have to be able to continue to represent the values of our community.
He says the average amount of money his agency got from the program was $80,000 to $90,000 per month.
That money went towards the general fund for the entire county to use, not just the Dane County Sheriff's Office.
But he says cutting ties with it is aimed to help Dane County's immigrant community feel safe.
Well, my main message to our immigrant community as a whole is that we are here for you. We understand the pain and the confusion that's been taking place over the past several weeks and know that the Dane County Sheriff's Office is here to support you.
This is part of a larger conversation I'm having with law enforcement across the county about how they will handle new federal immigration policies.
Meryl Hubbard reporting there. The Democratic National Committee will kick off their winter meeting today. During this time, members will vote on DNC officers. This includes committee's party chair. Current Wisconsin Democratic Party Chair Ben Wickler is one of the people seeking the top spot. Wickler has been the state's party chairman since 2019.
The White House is rescinding its order to freeze federal aid just 24 hours after it had been issued. Shortly after the announcement Monday, educators and charities raised concerns. The White House later tried to clarify programs that would be cut and which wouldn't be affected. And then on Tuesday, a federal judge temporarily blocked part of the order. Well, the Multi-State Alliance to Defend the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's LRCI, or Lead and Copper Rule Improvements, just gained a new member.
Our consumer reporter Michelle Renee Quinn has the details this morning. Who is joining the team?
Chris Kyrion, that new member is Attorney General Josh Call.
Chris Kyrion, that new member is Attorney General Josh Call. He joins the Attorneys General of California, New York, Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, North Carolina, and the District of Columbia. They all form the Multi-State Alliance defending this program. Now, the Lead and Copper Rule Improvements, or LCRI, went into effect December 30th. It replaced the Lead and Copper Rule revisions that was rolled out during Trump's first administration. LCRI requires water systems to replace lead pipes nationwide within 10 years. The American Water Works Association is currently challenging LCRI. AG Call says that reducing lead in our drinking water should not be controversial.
All right, Michelle Renee, thank you for that update this morning about AG Call.
Madison police say they recovered a stolen gun and drugs from a vehicle involved in a hit and run. It happened Tuesday night. Officers say a white sedan ran a red light at John Nolan and Willie Street. The car then drove off from a traffic stop and hit a parked car near South Patterson. The vehicle was reported to have hit another unoccupied car that was on Atwood Avenue near the Atwood Scoop. Officers have yet to make an arrest. If you have any information that could help them out, contact Crime Stoppers.
MMSD wants your feedback on new designs for its 4 high schools. Local community members started to develop the refreshed logos in the fall. As you can see here, you can participate. East High School, La Follette, Bell Phillips, and West High School. And you can follow those links on our website to vote. That's channel3000.com.
Former Vice President of the Goodman Community Center, Dwayne L. Powell, now charged with 9 felonies. It's for allegedly embezzling more than $600,000 in center funds for personal use. Investigators say that he used credit cards to pay for gambling at Ho Chunk Casino in Madison and Baraboo. The spreadsheet of the alleged purchases runs nearly 50 pages.
Happening tonight, the Lodi High School's varsity basketball team is hosting a pink out night for breast cancer awareness. Local community member and owner of Hair Haven Salon, Sadie Coons, was diagnosed with breast cancer in October. She is a coach and mother of 3. She says the outpouring support from the community has been great.
I would just love everybody to come out if you can. It's going to be a great event. A lot of work went into this. The ladies and the guys on our basketball board did an amazing job.
The junior varsity game starts at 6, followed by the varsity game. They will play against Columbus at Lodi High School. Coon says there will be raffle baskets, a banner wall, a toss the duck game, and much more. All money raised will go to helping Coons with her medical bills.
Love to see that. Well, country music star Morgan Wallen's added another show to his Camp Randall performance. The second show is going to take place on June 29th after his concert on the 28th. He'll be joined by Ella Langley and Miranda Lambert. Pre-sale begins today and general sales will start tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Learn more at channel3000.com.
Let's check in with Savannah. What's coming up?
But breezy day, so those kiddos heading out to the bus stop early this morning probably need at least a jacket. Might not need that, only a sweatshirt later in the day. We'll talk about the record warmth coming up.
Plus, it's almost the weekend in the 608 this morning. I'll have 3 things for you to do with the family just ahead.
You're watching watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
On this Thursday, we are working for the weekend in the 608.
Josh Ryder is here in studio now with your weekend planner. Josh, what you got for us this week?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I have 3 things for you to do this weekend at the 608. And the first event, a well-known one in these parts with one of our favorite videos we love to rewatch year after year.
He says that he didn't see a shadow.
Of course, the video we can't forget here in Wisconsin. Hard to believe it has been 10 years. 10 years, Stanny, since Sun Prairie Jimmy bit the mayor at that time. Now, this coming Sunday, the community is invited to join the 77th annual Groundhog Prognostication. This is a long-standing tradition that begins bright and early at 6:45 in the morning in Cannery Square. Jimmy will make his highly anticipated prediction at 7:11 a.m. After Jimmy's prediction, runners and walkers can hit the course to race for a cause and show off some seasonal spirit in the Hibernation Hustle 5K Kids Dash. The excitement continues with a morning pancake breakfast featuring Jimmy the Groundhog, followed by a sled dog demo starting at noon. Well, Saturday is National Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. Boy, this is a big weekend. It's the day when you can reach for your spoon first thing in the morning. All 9 Madison area chocolate shops will be ready to help you celebrate by opening their doors bright and early at 8 in the morning on Saturday. There will be a special breakfast menu consisting of fresh Greenbush Bakery Donut Sammies and made-to-order waffle sundaes. That event runs until noon. Then later on Saturday, you can celebrate the Lunar New Year. This is going to be a celebration observed across several Asian cultures. On Saturday from 1 to 6 at Blackhawk Church, you can dive into the Chinese culture with exhibits, dumpling making, and a traditional tea ceremony, and also a Chinese New Year variety show. Organizers say whether you're familiar with Chinese traditions or new to them, this is a perfect opportunity to learn and celebrate together. For more ideas this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. 10 years since Jimmy the Groundhog bit the mayor.
Lots of exciting things happening over the weekend, but I was still picking up my jaw. After I saw that, I was like, Jimmy can stay where he's at.
Have you seen that before? Is that the first time you've seen that video?
That's my first time I've ever seen it. That's why I was like
2015.
Yeah. It's definitely one of our most watched clips on YouTube from Channel 3000.
Oh, yes. Still is.
Jimmy wasn't having it that day.
But no.
He's done better over the years, I assume.
We got a new Jimmy after that. Jimmy number 2.
The previous Jimmy didn't make it.
No.
I wonder what that mayor's doing today.
That's a good question. Boy, wouldn't that be a fun story?
Yeah, nice little follow-up for 10 years.
You have to think about this every year.
Oh, every year.
Every year.
Any of our reporters out there watching this morning, they're like, okay, I'm going to pitch that story and follow up with the mayor 10 years later.
Hey, that'd be cool. Why not?
All right, Josh Ryder, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Josh has always got inspirational stories for you. He gets those from people just like you. So if you've got something, reach out and let him know about it.
Well, Savannah, do you have any early predictions on what we may see?
Ooh, I really just want an early spring. I want that every year. What is your guys' opinion? Early spring, or do you want winter to continue for the next 6 weeks?
What do you mean?
I haven't gotten my snow fix yet. I need more snow.
Okay, early spring for me. But
I'm assuming that he's just going to see his shadow and jump back down into the ground, and unfortunately 6 more weeks of winter in the forecast probably. Our wind chills, though, we do have them out there this morning. We're going to see a flip. It'll definitely feel spring-like by the afternoon. 28, that's our current temperature, very mild for this time of year, but our wind chill makes it feel like we're down to 22. Our wind's not an issue right now. That'll be a different story later in the day. Our winds are out of the south. That'll warm us up this afternoon significantly, but our wind gusts are still going to be about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's similar to the last couple of days, not quite as breezy as Monday or Monday night, but again, they'll die down again 5 to 10 miles per hour overnight, and then they pick right back up tomorrow afternoon with wind gusts expected to be near 25. That'll continue through the weekend, and then we'll finally start to see less breezy of conditions, but because of the wind, our mild conditions and also low relative humidity with how dry it's been, we do have another elevated fire risk, similar conditions, even warmer though this afternoon compared to what we just had yesterday. How about the record warmth, though? Our record currently holds at 47. That was set back in 1974, which will shatter our record high, or the forecast today, 55. So that will likely, almost certainly shatter the previous one. Our lows are not going to get quite that warm. 39's our record, but the forecast 33. Sunday, our record's 51. That was set back in 2020. We'll at least have near record warmth right now, likely tying that. Our forecast 51 and similar conditions conditions overnight, I don't think we're going to set a new record warm overnight low. So winds, like I mentioned, breezy conditions, those are still out of the south. Eventually that's going to rebound out of the northeast. Some showers track in late tonight. Expect mostly sunny conditions early, and then we'll turn over to mostly cloudy with some showers across northern Illinois. Those look like they could come as far north as Monroe and Janesville. I don't necessarily think Madison and Dane County. Areas like Camp Douglas, Wisconsin, Dells, Juneau definitely staying dry overnight. That moves out of here. Our next chance of precipitation over the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, that's still low for us because our overnight low is going to be 31. We'll likely see rain and then maybe a few areas of sleet.
Last week, Wisconsin men's basketball was out on the West Coast for 2 games in LA. This week, they're on the opposite coast for a showdown with Maryland. And let's hope Greg Gard has some of those frequent flyer miles to use. Badgers have won 5 of the last 6 against the Terps. They trail at the break, but came out firing in the second half. They come up with the loose ball, and John Tonje knows what to do with it. He slams it home, part of a 9-0 run by Wisconsin. Tonje finished with a game-high 23. Later in the half, Maryland up 3 now. Max Klesmit looking like Jordan Love. He throws a dime to Nolan Winter for an easy 2. That cut it to 1, but it's the closest they would get because it just wasn't their night. Terps bank home the 3, and the Badgers fall 76-68. On the women's side, Wisconsin snapped their 8-game losing streak with a big-time win against 24th-ranked Michigan. 5 Badgers finished in double figures, led by Sarah Williams, who finished with 22 points and 7 rebounds. Against Michigan, Wisconsin men's hockey did what they needed to do. Win game 1 and then close out the series with a tie. But how they did it probably had the heart of Mike Hastings feeling a bit uneasy. In both games, the Badgers rallied from a 2-goal deficit. It's not a spot they want to be in, but knowing that they can come back no matter the score, well, that's a good thing to have in their back pocket.
They're the ones that pulled us out of that fire. Different guys at different times. I do think it shows the belief they have in each other.
Yeah, this team doesn't get rattled very easily, and we don't want to start down. And I think this weekend, with how our practices have been, we're our first 5-10 minutes of practice, or we want to be really good, and that'll translate to Friday and Saturday, and hopefully we can get up by 1 or 2 instead of down 1 or 2.
And legendary head coach John Cook has decided to step away from the game of volleyball. He was the head coach at Wisconsin for 7 years in the 90s before leaving for Nebraska, where he won 4 national championships. During his time in Madison, Cook won 161 games and guided the Badgers to 5 NCAA tournaments, 3 Sweet 16s, 2 Elite 8s, and a Big Ten title. And that's it for Morning Sports. Have a great day.
Thanks, Zach. Still ahead, the cost of Super Bowl commercials this year, plus a special drink for Eagles fans.
We don't need that. Just kidding. We'll be right back after this. .624, this photo is from Gwen. She says the ice hinge at Duskin Lake Mills.
That's cool.
Take a look there. Gwen always capturing the goodness out there. Thank you, Gwen, and keep sending in those photos. Hashtag MyNews3Morning.
Yeah, if you missed Kyle Pazorski's story this morning, he was at Lake Geneva where they're doing the big snow sculpting competition right
so
now.
Great.
Yeah, and with the weather in the 50s and everything, to hear them talk about how they're going to do it. It's still going on. You can still go check it out. But yeah, it's a challenge for those sculptors. Well, trending this morning, the cost of a Super Bowl commercial continues to climb. 30-second spots during the big game. You know, it can really put a new company on the map. They could give us a new catchphrase, or just leave us scratching our heads. So Super Bowl spots are going for $8 million this year.
Only $8 million.
Yeah, Fox was charging $7 million for 30 seconds, and then they got a lot of interest, so they jacked those rates up to $8 million.
Wow.
So we're going to see ads from the usual suspects like Anheuser-Busch and Pepsi, and a few new surprises in there, I'm sure, of course. Love those Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah, the commercials, the halftime show. Oh, and the national anthem. I wonder who's singing the national anthem this year, because that's very important to me, too. So those are the only things I really pay attention to.
And that your Chiefs win.
Exactly, and I just need to see the
how
last.
could you leave that out?
I just need to see the fourth quarter. That's all.
There you
That's
go.
all.
All right, well, how about this? Buckingham Valley Vineyards in Pennsylvania has brewed something up for Kyrie on, just in case the Eagles win, right? It is green sparkling wine.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
What would that taste like? Like mouthwash?
Like dye? Like green dye?
Does it dye your tongue green? That's
There
what
you go.
Let's hope so.
It doesn't matter. Those will be sealed shut anyway. There won't be any popping of those bottles. No
Boy.
celebrations, just sorrow.
Were you guys
Just
watching
sorrow.
the first game over the weekend on Sunday?
Yeah.
Did you guys catch that Bears commercial?
No,
I missed that too.
I was like, what was it
It
about?
kept airing. I don't know. It just said the
Disappointment?
Bears, the Bears, the Bears.
Disappointments.
It made me happy, but I was like, why is this playing right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
The
have the weather
Bears.
forecast and just how warm it's going to be this afternoon coming up.